today. It has been about a week since Switch 2. Exactly a week since Switch 2 has been officially revealed. I think things are going pretty well over at Nintendo, but there probably are some questions that they are feeling a little bit nervous about, that they're hoping, like, gosh, please don't ask us these things because we don't want to talk about this right now. So we thought we would ask those questions and put ourselves in their mindset to see how they might respond to some of these tricky things.
Yeah, despite all the leaks and the impact of those leaks, it seems like the announcement went over super well.
Yeah.
And the views of the video are through the roof.
Skyrocketing.
The feedback is mostly extremely positive. People seem really excited for this next generation, but it's true. And to quote the great Reggie himself, there are some topics that are the, quote, soft underbelly of what this product is, which means these are things where Nintendo is maybe not 100% confident about what they have to say or present about them. And this is something that we worked on, which was how do you present these topics in the best light possible, knowing you might have some weaknesses. If you get asked questions about these, how do you answer those questions? We would literally write the responses that every spokesperson would say. So we've come up with like 10 or so of these questions based on what we know now that we think might make them squirm.
A little bit.
Make them a little bit nervous to get these questions. And this has happened any product. No matter how great it is, there's always something that somebody's like, oh, I wish we could have.
I'm not really sure about this
I wish we could have maybe nailed that a little bit more than we did.
That's true. And they are going to be, doing something in April, right? Revealing more information, giving us some more, info about games coming out. They might be doing some kind of event around that time where
I'm sure they are.
I'm sure they are as well, where they are going to have to talk to some people, whether it's in the media or just make some sort of public appearance and make a presentation, where these things might come up and they are going to need to get prepared with the right answers to be able to talk about some of this stuff. And any smart reporter will be able to identify the soft underbelly and sort of poke at it, prod at it a bit, and get you a little nervous.
Will Steven Totillo and Jason Schreier be first on the list to do these interviews?
I'm sure they've already thought about all of these questions, absolutely. And that was kind of our job when we would do these big reveals and do events like this. We were spokespeople ourselves, but we would also prep, Reggie and the Dougs of the world to be able to answer a lot of these questions, including the ones that would make us nervous. So yeah, it's kind of nice to be on the other side because I would get nervous when I would anticipate this question being asked of me. You definitely don't want to say the wrong thing accidentally and make the situation worse.
Yeah, I remember at the Switch event in January 2017, I got matched up to do an interview with a guy from Business Insider who was 100% fixated on this detail of like, you do not have Netflix on this thing. This is an unbelievable miss. Like, you're gonna, like, how can you not have, and like, this was literally like 20 minutes of this guy just railing against me about the Netflix. And I was like, there's only so much that I could say. And, try to redirect him to the good things. But yeah, sometimes these interviews can get a little
hairy.
Hostile.
Yes, it's true. And everybody has like a certain, every reporter or everybody that's doing an interview has a certain angle that they want to get. They're already thinking about the headline in their head of what they're going to write to make it feel like dramatic or like clickable or whatever. So they're working to try to get you to say something, to admit something, to reveal something. So that was an interesting part of our job. And again, I think it's kind of nice to be on the other side where we can not have to be stressed out by this because it was quite stressful.
That's sometimes. As they say, for the birds.
For the birds.
Yes.
For the birds.
Two quick things to touch on before we get into that. So last week was actually, we checked, our best week ever on YouTube, which is an incredible thing. We had a new video every week. We really wanted to hammer.
Every day, not every week.
I'm sorry, every day. We really wanted to hammer this thing. And it's like, so thank you to everybody who watched.
Thank you so much.
I think we mentioned this before. I think a lot of people who do content on Nintendo have said, like, 2024 was a bit of a tougher year because there was no, like, the big game that everybody was playing, that everybody was super hyped about.
There's not like a big event like a Mario movie in 2023.
Exactly.
We were all sort of on pins and needles about Switch 2, and then it was sort of like in this like weird, did it get delayed? Did it not? Then it was like sort of let the air out of the room a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So 2024 was actually a bit of a step down from 2023 in terms of, everything that we do on YouTube. And I think we were feeling like, well, we think it's probably just due to the content and things will turn around once this thing gets announced. But you never know.
You never know.
Until it happens. So it was a bit of a relief for us for it to happen and to see the strong, feedback from everybody being super excited, really wanting to dig into all the angles to this. So that's what we're going to keep doing.
That is what we're going to keep doing. Of course, we're going to still tell you plenty of behind-the-scenes stories from our time there. I think there's a lot of stories that will start to come up as we get closer to Switch 2 launch, because it's going to remind us of things that happened in launches past. But yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting us, continuing to support us. It was such a joy to see all of the stuff doing well last week, and we also got some new wonderful Patreon family members that joined us on Patreon, which is always a treat. And yeah, we really can't do this without you guys. We want to keep doing it, but we really need your support to do that. And it was a great reminder that, you guys are so interested in stuff that we're putting out there. And so, it felt really nice.
Yeah. Later this week, in a couple days, we are doing a little field trip.
We are. A little celebration.
For our next
I think.
Super Kitten Krysta 64. So very close to where our office is, and we've been watching them build this over the last couple months. They've been building a Topgolf, which is like a really
it's like a fancy driving
high-end, very technologically advanced drive. You've been to one, I haven't.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And that's cool on its own, but we learned that they are doing this cool kind of event for the past month and into the short-term future around Sonic the Hedgehog because of, I guess, the Sonic movie.
Right.
So we are going to go out there and
check it out.
Vlog ourselves checking out this Sonic the Hedgehog golf experience that they have.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. They do a lot of cool things there where they try to make the driving range.
They've gamified a game
into more like a video game.
They've gamified something that was already a game. They've gamified
an existing game.
Right.
I know, right? It's kind of strange to think about it like that, but it is very high tech and cool, where they can track your ball and track your swings and all that. They must have cameras just all over the place.
Right.
But I haven't seen the Sonic stuff yet, but I guess they said that it's very competitive, so we can compete against each other to see how we do. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It literally, this place got built 5 minutes from our office.
Yes, we could walk there.
It's just around the corner, and it's a huge,
looks cool,
massive place. So I'm excited to go check it out. And
there has been some suggestion amongst ourselves that we wear the Sonic and Tails onesies.
We should.
You found there was some concern that these have been lost.
Yes, but now I'm looking at them.
Which caused me some amount of panic. I was like, why would we get rid of that?
We didn't get rid of it. It was in a drawer somewhere.
I guarantee you, I would not throw this without you telling you, a fit of rage, Sonic.
How cute would I be golfing in the Tails onesie?
Well, what about me? What about me?
How cute would I be golfing in
somebody's
going to
care.
You're in your own little individual pod, so hopefully and we're also going in the middle of the week, so hopefully we don't get any weird looks.
It's not
what are these two
happy hour
creeps doing? Although they might love it, honestly. Yeah. They might be this is legit,
Look for us on the Topgolf social channels.
Oh gosh.
So we're going to be right there.
We did also, because you guys really like sort of the Week in Our Lives type of vlog that we did last year, we're doing that alongside this Sonic outing. So you'll get to see some cool behind the scenes of us prepping for Crazy Switch 2 week, which we documented. And we'll just take you take you along with us for all of that, and then take you with us as we celebrate a job well done last week, apparently at Topgolf.
There we go. All right, let's get into these soft underbelly questions.
So soft.
And you mentioned the likelihood of there being some sort of an event in April.
Right.
more people continue to say it's in February. People really got confused by the way
4224.
People really got. I saw some tweets of things like, "Oh, this is we're weeks away for the February Switch 2 event." I'd be like, "Oh no, you poor person."
Oh no.
So I feel strongly that they will have an event like they did for the original Switch in January 2017, and I would be shocked if, as part of that, they did not put their people out there to do these sorts of interviews. The big marketing push really begins then. And they have mostly sworn off of media interviews for a good chunk of time. I would actually love somebody to dig up, like, when was the last substantial interview that somebody like a Doug Bowser did.
Yeah, definitely way less. Reggie was out there so much more than Doug was. Doug really took a step back.
Right. Like, so, for example, at that event, in 2017, Reggie's job was to sit in a room and do interviews literally all day long.
Day and night.
All day long.
Yeah, and I wonder too if they will have a stage presentation as well during that event, during this April event, I mean, because that would be a good way to sort of get ahead of some of your soft underbelly questions. Like, instead of waiting for someone, like sitting and twiddling your thumbs, waiting for someone to ask you the bad question you don't want answered, just get in front of it, you know? So that might be a good
They usually do that. I mean, they usually use that to just kind of summarize what was in the direct. Right. It'd be like direct in the morning, then this event starts, and it's like, well, let's take you through the high points of that, and then you get turned loose to do
and then you get your hands on and your interviews.
If you have a scheduled interview. Right. So, for these, when we were coming up with these, we kind of put ourselves in the position of Doug Bowser, who, you know, was a very capable spokesperson, but just kind of hasn't had the chance to do this. And what are the questions, if you're him, that's going to make you a little nervous to get?
Yeah, and the problem with these questions is that, one, you know you have a weakness in the product itself, right? And you might be nervous to even just bring it up and have some kind of spiraling effect of, like, you know, well, now we're in this, like, this loop of question and answer about this topic that is a weakness for the product. The other thing that's really dangerous about these soft underbelly questions is you can get nervous.
Yeah.
And you can start to say stuff that is
off script,
inaccurate, off script. And that can get you into a lot of trouble.
Right.
And then, like, finally, the last area of, like, concern with this is, you know, you kind of feel like your job there is to keep people focused on these, like, top 3 key messages that you're trying to deliver about your new product. And anytime any of these questions come up, you feel like you're getting way off topic from that. And so you've just now wasted, you know, 30 minutes with the New York Times because you have been sucked into these, you know, really tricky questions that you don't want to talk about, and then in the process of that, you have now lost the opportunity to get your product messages out to this, like, huge
Look at this spokesperson masterclass you're just putting out for free.
This is scary stuff. It's a tough job when you're trying to do something like this. It's a tough job.
The one other consideration is there can be questions that seem completely innocent or innocuous that actually have a lot of, like, internal baggage to them, where it's like, oh, this is actually a sensitive topic for this person who's really important, so they want it to be answered this certain way. And if I don't say it this way, it's going to be a real
problem.
Pain in my butt.
Yeah.
So that's always a thing.
Yeah.
And so we got a couple of those too.
Yeah.
So let's just get into these.
Right.
First question. This is a great one.
This is a great one.
Have you solved Joy-Con drift with the Switch 2? Very to the point.
Oh, yeah, it's true. This is one where I think they're going to get this question a lot. And hopefully the answer is yes, and they have a very straightforward way of saying how.
So in reality, they probably have. One way or another, they've probably addressed this. But it's a hard question because
they never admitted to the problem in the first place.
There was all this legal stuff around Joy-Con drift of, like, you know, is this real? Is this not a real thing? Like, they had a very, like, sidesteppy kind of answer. So for them to say, yes, we've solved it, admits that it was a problem in the first place and could open them up to further legal issues.
Right.
So they need to find another way to basically indicate that they have confidence in the product without actually answering this question.
That's a tough one because, it's like one of those things where they sort of, like, created almost like a web, not of lies, but like a web of, like, trying to mask those potential issues so that they don't get into trouble legally. They're not on the hook legally. And they probably do want to talk about the significant improvements that they've made to the Switch 2 Joy-Con. That's going to be a huge talking point for them. They're going to talk all about...
That's what you bridge to.
You're going to bridge to that.
If you're the spokesperson, like, well, we've added all these new innovations to it.
Yeah.
But, this is one of those things where I think they'll know they kind of just need to take the lumps and take the fact that people will note their response as being evasive and wait until people get the thing and do the teardown.
Yeah.
Or maybe, that may, already happen soon enough.
Right.
With people, with the leaks. Like, who knows, we may know it, like, in a day.
Yeah.
About that, of like, oh, it's using the Hall effect or something else to minimize this. But, yeah, it's going to come up. It's going to be awkward because they are in a position where they can't really directly address it.
Yeah.
As much as they may want to.
Because they have sidestepped it before, they're going to have to sidestep it now.
Yeah.
And it just comes off more and more like they're being really
you're dodging the question. Right. It's like, did you not realize this was a problem? This was a huge issue for all these people, yada yada. Yeah. And it's like it's just tough.
Yeah, there's going to be like a whole section on that Q&A.
Doug Bowser's already mopping his brow.
Yeah. It was annoying. Yeah, totally.
Next question. Why did so much Switch 2 information leak before you officially revealed it?
Yikes.
What do you say to this if you're them? It's like, yes, it obviously did. Everybody knows this. They know this. Yeah. But how do you actually respond to this question?
This is a tough one because this is another one where it has like more. There's more to this question than answering the question. The deeper effects of this is, I mean, the things that Nintendo are very concerned about, it's sitting deeper than the question. Like, if you answer the question in any way that indicates that, yes, these leaks happened, because they did, it shows to everybody else that you had no control over the situation.
We have problems in every aspect of our business.
You have a lot of problems in your business. You have a lack of security.
Yeah.
You have a lack of understanding in terms of the market and how the market works.
And these things that you were once great at, you're not so great at anymore.
Absolutely. So you kind of open up the doors to like scrutinizing these other aspects. So I think, if I were writing the answer to this question, I would try to write it in a way where it indicates like, yes, we learned something about this, and we've now shored up our processes.
I would say something like,
way.
We're always disappointed. We want to preserve the surprise for our fans. You make it like, oh, it was such a bummer for the fans, not for us, it's for the fans. Yeah. And you kind of just keep it brief at that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we did not discuss our internal policies and practices. Yeah. Something like that.
You kind of have to say it in a way where it makes it feel like you now do have the control back.
Right.
Like, I didn't have the control then.
But you're kind of using the fans as like a tool.
Barrier.
It's like, didn't that suck for the fans? We feel so bad for the fans. It's true, but it's also kind of being done in kind of like a
nefarious,
an emotionally manipulative way.
It is. You're trying
but that's how you would tackle.
Yeah, we're so disappointed that our fans didn't get the true surprise that we had intended for them.
Right.
Because of these awful leakers. But it is a tough one because again, it really reveals the problems in your business practice.
Yeah. Next, will the Switch 2 have an OLED screen? And if not, why not? Mm-hmm. So who knows? Maybe
it does.
Maybe it will, and this will be a moot point. But I think a lot of us, ourselves included, think it won't.
Right.
But the reasoning why is, again, maybe not something they super want to put out there.
Right, especially because they do have the Switch OLED,
it's like,
widely in the market.
That's
so you're taking a step backwards.
You're backsliding, yes.
For your new hardware generation that's supposed to feel very next gen.
Right.
Are you taking a step backwards? So you got to answer this question really carefully as well, just to make sure that you don't come off as Switch 2 is now not as modern as an OLED.
Not as new as your old generation.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I'm going to some response where they're talking about the delicate balance of creating a product that is approachable from a cost perspective to everybody. I don't really like that response though. I think it needs,
that's a cop-out response.
I don't think that's a good response. I think they'll probably find some other way.
I think they would probably go back to experiences, instead of talking tech and talking specs, which they don't like to do in general. Right. They're gonna like just show you the game that's running on the Switch 2 screen.
The games look great.
The games, we have found a way to make the games look as vibrant as ever.
We have the highest end LCD screens.
Yes.
So the games look as they're intended by our developers.
Right.
Probably more something like that.
Something like that, because they're probably going to bridge to experiences versus it being like, let's just talk about the specs.
Right. Because it's either or it could be a combination of, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
It's going to raise the price too much, and then it's like, well, we can sell it to you later. So make you buy whole nother Switch 100%. When the Switch 2 OLED comes out in 3 years or something.
3 years, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they need to
walk a tightrope a little bit here.
Again, we all know the answers to these questions.
Yeah.
But they just can't say it.
They can't say it. They can't say it. It's like that thing where it's like, I know you know, and I know you know that I know, but we can't. We both have to like do this dance,
And then this just becomes like the business culture at the company, where it's like you kind of dance around these like elephants in the room, unfortunately.
Right.
It's like we've become so good at using euphemisms and deflecting.
Or like answering a question with another topic.
Can we just have an honest on this topic?
No, we can't actually.
No.
We actually can't.
Have I told you about this? Let's change. I'll look over there. It's a UFO.
It's a shiny object. Yeah, and I think inevitably, if you get into this OLED screen question, you're probably going to ask the other questions that kind of go along with this, which is like, are you expanding your product line then? Right. Are you going to do a Switch 2 Lite?
Right. These inevitable.
Are you going to do a Switch 2 OLED? Is that coming in a few? Yeah, the Switch 2 family of systems. When is that coming?
Oh Lord.
And they're obviously not going to want to answer any of that stuff because they're like, no, we want you to focus on the thing that's launching, in a couple of months. We want you to talk about that. We want you to get people to buy that.
Yeah.
We're not going to be saying like, well, yeah, obviously in a year, 2 years, we're going to come out with Switch 2 Lite and Switch 2 OLED, because then some consumers are going to be like, I'll just wait.
Right.
I don't want to pay that much for an LCD screen, or I only play handheld. I'll wait for the light, So you really you're in a situation where you got to dance around a lot of this stuff to keep people focused on the thing that you're launching right now. Tough.
Next, have you changed the way you're doing pre-orders to make them more fair for your fans?
God.
So they may actually have a good question.
They might have an answer to
this. If they
this.
do something similar to what they did with Alarmo, where you need to have a Nintendo account and you order it through them, and they can really cap one per whatever. Like then they actually do have a kind of good answer for
I sure hope so.
But
if they don't,
that's one of many channels through which this will be available.
Yeah.
So they will have that one good answer, but for all the other channels out there, it could still be a bloodbath and could be a complete mess, because they cannot control. Like once they hand the product over to the retailer, like legally they actually can't get too hands-on with how they sell it, because that's against, in this country at least, against the law. So, if you're a retailer, what do you want to do? You want to sell the thing, so you're not too worried about.
It's going to sell out, so who cares about the
experience? Let's sell these things. Let's just put them up and watch them sell. And we're like, job well done.
Hands clean. Dust your hands.
So it's like so they may have this positive story of like, oh yes, we're doing this for the fans. Again, it's for the fans. We bent over backwards to come up with this new system that's fair, but that's going to be a small fraction of the people who are actually going to get a Switch 2, and the other 90-something% is just left to
fend for themselves.
Who knows what?
Fend for themselves.
Scalpers, eBay, standing in lines to maybe get nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, and they really don't have like a super strong way to like answer this question besides giving that example. If they do the Nintendo account thing, they will 100% answer it with that. Like they would just say that's the way that we're doing it, and we want to reward our most dedicated fans.
So that's where, again, if you're a Steven Totillo out there, you will know to ask. Well, what about every other retailer?
Yeah, and then they'll be caught
and then they'll be blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Different retailers
have different
policies, and we respect those policies.
Exactly.
Back to Nintendo.com.
Yeah. So it's going to be a non-answer on like the other retailers.
But they will absolutely pat themselves on the back, because it's a good solution. But you just can't sell every Switch 2.
Let's hope they do that though, because that would be nice.
It's a step in the right direction.
One step in the right direction.
Yeah. Next, How are your developers handling the transition to making games for significantly more powerful hardware?
So this is a trick question.
And this one has a lot of kind of pent-up energy to it.
Yeah,
so,
this one has baggage.
So we know going from Wii to Wii U, developers have said that transition to HD was a bit trickier than maybe they expected. And it's kind of, what if you assume that Switch 2 will have, 4K-ish capabilities, like that you're moving up into a whole other echelon of development where you need different types of assets and it gets more, stuff gets bigger, the projects get bigger, it just gets harder to do. So, I think they can come up with some sort of an answer to say, we have world-class developers with world-class tools, that help them bring their thing to life. But the reality is that these developers are probably feeling some degree of struggle with this. So you need your question to not completely gloss over that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're going to see... who's checking the internet more than anybody? These developers.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what did somebody say? And if they don't like what somebody says, they're going to tell them.
Yeah.
So if you completely gloss over, it's like, oh, it's a piece of cake. It's like...
not really.
It's actually not, and I wish you didn't say that.
And I've been working like 7 days a week for like the last 6 months.
So there have been examples in the past, actually, where there have been responses that have been fully approved. I don't know how they got fully approved, because normally on some of these topics, the developers can get to weigh in. And it got used in an interview, and the developer heard it, and they were very mad. They were like, this does not reflect the difficult situation that we are in making this game.
Right, yeah.
And I don't appreciate that you said that.
Yeah, and it's like, you have basically like minimized my work.
Right.
I have not slept in like a year and a half.
Yes.
And you basically made it seem like it was...
It's a trivial thing.
It's a cakewalk to make this thing.
Right.
So I don't appreciate that.
Yes.
So that can definitely happen, and especially when you're answering for somebody else.
Yeah.
You're not the developer. Doug Bowser is not the developer.
Never made a game in his life.
He's answering for somebody else. So you need to be able to reflect their point of view in a way that is accurate.
Right. So you want to portray confidence, but also not minimize the hard work and challenges that they do face.
And there are other like implications in this question as well that's tricky from an industry perspective. Like there's stuff about crunch culture. There's stuff about, like working conditions.
Is Nintendo properly staffed for the next generation?
Right.
All that.
Like how much does it take to make a game? What is the resources required to do it?
Yeah.
Are you going to be, like Nintendo, are you going to be ready for that? So that's what's like...
How much did your budget go up for the new Mario Kart?
There you go.
Versus... 8 Deluxe.
That is what is buried in this question that can be really dangerous.
It seems very simple and safe.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it, totally.
Next, kind of similarly related, what is the graphical baseline that players can expect from first-party games as a result of the additional power of the Switch 2? 4K, 60 frames per second?
They hate specs. So
they will always want to duck the question of specs.
Yeah.
And they may need to acknowledge, yes, it's capable of outputting in 4K, just because it is something that is important for people to understand about the product. But as far as committing to, like, you remember, like in the PS5, when that was getting rolled out, like there were a lot of people saying, like, oh yeah, 4K 60 frames will be the baseline for everything from now on, and that's what we can expect. And over the years, that's not been the case, and now we have the PS5 Pro. So I think it's a couple things here of them wanting to move the conversation away from anything that is specs related beyond what they've already said.
Right.
And then also, you don't want to commit. Like who knows? I wouldn't want to commit to any...
Yeah, something might happen along the way where it doesn't run at that all the time, or there might be a game or two that doesn't have that capability.
Right. And that's another one where they'll have a very simple, like, the hardware, it made in conjunction with our developers to bring their game visions to life.
Blah, blah, blah.
And they represent a new generation of creativity and blah, 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 something like that.
Yeah. They'll be a little bit more philosophical, I think, with this question. And again, point back to the experiences. And, they'll have some other things up their sleeve as examples, too, where it's like, well, our developers, our first-party developers are really like very well versed in getting the most out of a piece of hardware. You've seen them do it on Switch. So we're more than confident that they're going to be doing the same for Switch 2. Like you have these tangible examples, of that.
Next is it's sort of a riff on that same question. Will the more powerful Switch 2 ensure that fans don't have to endure another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet situation again, where you have this high-profile game that just runs terribly on the system? So this is a trick question.
This is a trick question.
Because would you like to throw Game Freak under the bus, Doug Bowser? Yeah, would you like to do that?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
And it's also kind of a trick question because it's like that was really the failings of that game really had very little to do with the hardware. We see a lot of games that have the same scope as Scarlet and Violet that run great and that are really like impressive, and it was just more like for whatever reason they couldn't get to that point before they had to put that game out. So that's a really loaded question.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those questions where to say you don't have to endure a situation like that is basically admitting
acknowledging that it happened. Right. Whenever you repeat back a negative thing in the question,
you have confirmed that negative thing is true.
So it was terrible.
You agree that it was a terrible game that Game Freak didn't properly test and whatever. So yeah, this is a trick question for sure for that purpose. I think, again, it's like you probably go back to that same answer about like, well, we're very confident that our developers know exactly how to, create games and amazing experiences with the Switch 2 hardware. So you wouldn't even acknowledge the negativity. A good spokesperson would not acknowledge the negativity in this question at all. You would just gloss over that.
Yeah, it's very similar to the previous response. Yeah. Enabling new experiences for a developer.
Don't even nod. When someone asks a question like this,
just stare off into the distance. Stare blankly.
And then repeat the answer that you just said.
Watch your soul leave your body.
Leave your body.
While the person asks the
needles
question.
You about Scarlet and Violet.
Next. Will your upgrades from Switch to Switch 2 also include making your games run better online? So a bit of speculation on our part here, a bit of an assumption. I do think that there will be some enhancements to NSO to make it more enticing for people to be on. There may be some new things they can do with NSO that they couldn't do before. I'm not sold that that's going to include a rapid, a major overhaul of how online play works, or even going to what people have always asked for, dedicated servers.
Yeah, I don't think
that's a major investment. That's a major change of their policies and approaches. Right. That I just and then again, it's like, well, what can you actually say? Because at that point, it becomes to everybody with their own connections. Yeah. And I'm just speaking from my own experience again. If we have to go another generation where I have a Smash Brothers that doesn't work online, it'll be the end for me.
Break this.
It'll be the end for me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But doing this is the Wii. I just want to Smash.
So long.
I just want a Smash Brothers that works
online. It's
been
20 years.
Ultimate's gotten better. Definitely gotten better. But it's not all the way. It's not all the way there for me.
I mean, there's still some major issues.
There's other fighting games that are just like, wow,
flawless. Like Street Fighter.
They made it work. Great.
Yeah, exactly. This one is another one where you probably don't have much to confirm.
You vaguely refer to, many enhancements to NSO, including, and then you say the thing you can't talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you say, it's everybody has their own. We encourage people to have a strong connection when they do blah blah blah.
It's your fault.
You put it back onto the fans. Whether the fans are there to be your shield or be your scapegoat, you put it on the fans. Totally, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Next, what happened with the development of Metroid Prime 4 over the past 7 years? So again, we're assuming that Metroid Prime 4 has some sort of a Switch 2 version.
Reveal, yep.
And what did happen? And this is just, them having some egg on their face that they don't want to go into the full drama and nitty-gritty of what happened because it's not great. And it was a bad look for them to announce a game when they really didn't have much to go with and then have to restart it and then wait many, many years for it to show up again.
Yep.
So how would you answer this question?
You probably don't want to acknowledge anything that's happened in the last 7 years. No. You probably want to point immediately to the things that you revealed. I
would say, this is a new Metroid game with an unprecedented scope, and it took a lot of time for us to realize that vision, and we didn't want to show it until it was absolutely perfect, and it is perfect, so here it is.
Yeah, and you also want to give yourself that we're so great because we didn't want to put out an inferior product for our fans. We actually preferred to, take our time to perfect this game because we know this is an important franchise to our fans. And so look at us. Aren't we so nice that we made this game perfect for you? Now buy it.
But again, if Jason Schreier somehow got the untold story of Metroid Prime 4, maybe that would not be as glowing a thing. Exactly. I don't know. We don't know all the details. We don't know all the details, but I'm just guessing.
But obviously
that there was
something has happened.
A lot of drama involved with that.
Something has happened.
Over 7 years.
Yeah. But then they definitely will point to the stuff that they revealed about Metroid, which probably caused someone to ask this question and just say, look at this experience. Look how great it is. Look
Back
how beautiful
in 2017, we asked the question, why are we announcing this game now if it's not coming out for so many? And we never got a
answer.
Nobody really gave us a good response. We decided this is the best thing to do. It's
really?
But why?
Why though?
Why?
You don't need to do this.
Whoever was big-brained into that decision, maybe they should take a mea culpa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Take an L.
Yeah.
Sit in the corner.
Hold the L. It's not that bad.
In the corner for the next
It's not even real. Last question. Did the Switch Pro turn into the Switch 2?
Yeah.
So
people might be asking.
For the record, we don't know if the Switch 2 was, or if the Switch Pro was actually real. We don't know anything about it.
I don't know anything.
There was certainly, we were keeping a close eye on all of the rumors of people were talking about it.
Yeah.
So this is, again, they can't acknowledge something that may or may not have never existed in the first place.
Right.
So that's a tricky one.
It's a tricky one. Yeah, you definitely, and also you probably don't want to acknowledge anything to do with this because you, again, don't want people to think that it's not a true new next-gen product.
Right.
You want Switch 2 to feel like, we've fully from the ground up developed this to be our next-gen hardware, and it is so cool for these reasons. And you don't want people to think actually we were in the process of making a Switch Pro. That didn't happen, so we scrapped part of it and decided to turn that into the Switch 2.
Here's how you answer this. Our developers are constantly looking into new hardware opportunities. Literally from the time we finish development of one, we're immediately doing R&D on the next, and this Switch 2 represents the proper next generation of that concept.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah,
blah, blah, blah. Word salad.
Keep it locked at Nintendo.com.
Word salad. Delicious word salad. But yeah, exactly. It is, a lot of these questions are you can't actually respond in a very clear-cut way because that means you're acknowledging the bad thing that you can't confirm.
Right.
So these are tricky for that reason. And you need to have a really solid answer that people can't continue to poke holes in. And you need to be able to answer that question with that answer many different ways because someone might try to ask it to you another way.
Right.
You answer it in the same way but just with different words. So that's kind of how it goes down. And you do need kind of practice to do
Legal
it,
to
right?
confirm. The comment to end all comments on these documents.
Yes.
Legal to confirm. Tree has to confirm.
Anybody but me to confirm.
Please, God, please help me.
Or just delete the question. Let's delete this question.
Yeah, some of these would have been suggested for deletion. Of we don't want to get into this.
Well, you don't want to get into it.
Well, you don't want to get into it, so maybe you should be prepared instead of pretending that nobody's going to ask it.
Head in the sand, yeah. The other thing, we were talking about, it has been a while since Doug's been out there doing these interviews. You do need to practice, you got to practice.
This was the great advantage that we had, which was we were doing something weekly that kind of put us out there as spokespeople weekly, kept us fresh, keep your skills fresh.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just lose whatever rhythm and
get a little rusty.
Get rusty, and it's hard to get back into game shape, as they say.
You can get really tripped up sometimes, and lose your if you lose your focus, you can get real tripped up on these things. One hard question can really throw you, and you can't get it back to what the stuff that you really wanted to talk about is, and that's unfortunate. So. Yeah, hopefully he's doing lots of media training as we used to do back in those days, and basically pretend to be like a member of the media and just like grill the spokesperson until they're near tears.
Yeah.
Just to practice.
Yeah, I'm so interested to see how they get back into doing this. I'm curious to see if it's the same group of people that was doing it before. I think some people might just opt out and be like, I don't want to do this anymore.
No, thank you.
The stakes on this are too high. I'm scared.
I'm scared.
Doug, I'm scared.
I'm so scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, I mean, this is another related but semi-not, is like what developers are going to be out there, if any, because we haven't seen, beyond like as the developers and stuff, we haven't seen people out there unless it's in like a very scripted, you know, controlled Nintendo Direct.
Mr. Yabuki.
Looking hot.
His hotness has evolved. Yes.
In a Mario
The women were polled. The women were polled under duress.
I raised my hand for hot. I'm not ashamed. He's hotter than ever now.
Take an informal poll about the hotness of this developer in this very high-profile,
my hand could not have gotten
tense meeting.
My hand could not have been shot up in the air faster in that moment.
Incredible.
I volunteer as tribute.
All right, let's do something a bit more lighthearted.
Yes.
We're going to do a Would You Rather Switch 2 edition.
Oh.
We've got some hypotheticals to put you in a tight spot here.
Yeah.
We were planning to do 3, and I asked you just before we were recording.
And I had 2.
You had 2.
And you had 5.
I've got extras, so if you need some, I got some for you.
I
can just do all of mine on you. I'm going to begin. Because you were unprepared.
I was very.
First, this is going to make you squirm. Do not look at my screen. Would you rather buy a Switch 2 at launch that has ugly Joy-Con, or would you wait a year to get a Switch 2 that is all white?
I think I'm going to have to buy it at launch for my job. For my job. No. But it's going to kill me. It's going to kill me.
You could always give it to somebody else or sell it, or
I could sell it and buy the other one when it's like pretty again. I probably wouldn't leave it out anymore though. Like it would
be put it in a drawer.
I would put it in a drawer. Yeah, I would shamefully hide it in a drawer because I can't ruin my aesthetic. But I definitely have. You and I, we actually have to get for the sake of this job. We actually. There is no other option. We have to go in at launch.
I would like one that's just all black. Yeah. That doesn't have the different
colors.
But if I had to get that one,
not that bad.
I'd be fine. It's much more understated than the original Switch.
If the one that I'm getting is the one that they showed in the reveal trailer, I'm okay with it.
It's fine.
It's not that ugly.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
All right. Here's my first one. Would you rather have Street Pass or some kind of like social media type network on Switch 2, or the ability to play all old Nintendo DS games on Switch 2?
How would I be playing these DS games?
Let's just say that there's a way.
Oh, all of them?
All of them. Entire DS library. But then Switch 2 is boring then.
Street Pass or some other, so like a Miiverse sort of thing.
Yeah, like some fun, social thing.
I want to roll the dice and take my chances with that because I have a Nintendo DS. I have ways of playing a DS game if I want to versus this other thing that otherwise would not exist.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll the dice.
Okay.
See what I get with that.
Yeah. It will be fun to have a Switch 2 with a bit more.
I mean, I literally just want Street Pass. I'd rather they
focus on that.
Not try.
But if it's so big, are you going to carry that thing around with you? You think?
I mean, I probably as much as I already do. I mean, I put it in a backpack. Yeah. Like there's a certain category of people who are obsessed with the pocketability.
Size, yeah. And I don't think this one's gonna fit in your pocket.
Unless I'm wearing my like Janko jeans from when I was in 8th grade or something. Oh, bring back cargo pants. Cargo pants
are already back.
For now.
I got a pair over the weekend.
You went to Old Navy and you got the cargo pants.
They're really comfortable. I actually got them at Costco. This is me now, guys.
You're becoming a Costco person.
I'm becoming like an old lady.
But you don't want to admit it, I think.
I don't care. I actually want to admit it.
Oh.
I like it.
All right. Any good free samples? Did you get a hot dog?
I got chicken bake.
Okay, good. You got to take full advantage.
I saw that there was a cool Nintendo section with like the Donkey Kong stuff.
Oh, really?
I took a picture of that.
A palette?
A palette.
Oh.
And then they had a very, very cute Pikachu Squishmallow?
Squishmallow?
A giant Pikachu.
How much was that?
It's actually not bad. It was like $50. Should I buy it for the office?
Such a deal. No.
Oh.
So I answered your question.
Yes.
Yes, next. Let's see, I got so many to choose from. This is a fun one. This is just pure fun. So you don't need to stress over this. The new Mario Kart game introduces Wario and Waluigi's even more deranged, long-lost brother, Wantonio. It's like Antonio, but he's Wantonio.
I get it.
Or every character in the new Mario Kart game is devolved, like Donkey Kong. All of them. So they all get the Dennis Hopper
tiny
pinhead or devolution.
Oh no!
Like Donkey Kong has gotten.
Oh no! Well, Donkey Kong, I wouldn't say he's completely devolved, but okay.
He's getting there.
Oh, maybe. I will take Wantonio.
Oh no! You'll birth Wantonio into the world.
I will birth Wantonio into the world because Wantonio is only one.
Oh, he's going to be around for people are going to love Wantonio.
Wantonio could be kind of hot. Could be like Wantonio Banderas.
He's not.
As Zorro.
He's not. He's like I said, even more deranged.
How deranged?
More deranged.
But Wario's cute.
More deranged than Waluigi.
Oh no.
It's not good for you.
But only one character versus every single Mushroom Kingdom character.
I mean, you could go back to just like their really kind of weird looking origin.
No, it's gonna be weird. Don't mess with Mario. He's so cute.
All right.
What about Yoshi? He's so cute. Don't devolve them.
Okay.
That's tough. That's hard for every character.
Interesting choice for you there. Okay.
Wantonio can be like, you don't have to pick him. You can just ignore
Wantonio. He'll be there.
You could just ignore him.
The internet's going to be talking about Wantonio for a long time.
He's going to have like a dozen roses in his mouth instead of the one rose.
There's going to be people making Wantonio their whole personality out there.
Oh god, the Wantonio fan art. The sexy Wantonio fan art is going to be off the charts.
And it's going to be all your fault. What do you have next?
Okay, would you rather have every first-party Nintendo Switch game get automatically upscaled or up-res for Switch 2, or have Nintendo completely redo the Switch 2 eShop so it's organized, fast, and doesn't include a whole bunch of terrible shovelware?
I'll take the upscale games.
Okay.
It's
pretty nice.
I would really like that. The eShop stinks.
It's horrible.
But I'm kind of like, parachuting in and out when I need to get something. I'm not spending days browsing.
But think about how much stuff you're missing because you're not in
the times I do, it's very clear that I'm not missing a lot.
I don't know. I always feel like there's something that is like eluding me because the eShop is so bad. Yeah. Like there's got to be some hidden, like so many hidden gems.
They do have, good, like sometimes if there's like a big sale, like they'll have that on the web. You can scroll it there. You can buy it there.
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't like it, but if I had to, I could begrudgingly live with it.
It took me like 20 minutes to
just type in what you want.
To get like and purchase Donkey Kong. Like seriously, I'm like, this sucks. Like it loaded for like a long time, and then like I had to find it. And then I was like putting in my password multiple times, and then I had
They'll probably just make it easier to do it like on your phone.
That's fine.
Or through some app. Yeah. Versus actually going in.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. Because it's just not a good thing.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Maybe my last one, but maybe not.
Okay.
Don't look. These are funny. Let's see. Have 1-2-3 Switch be a launch game for the Switch 2, or have Mario and Luigi Brothership Goaty Edition be a launch game.
Oh.
Super enhanced, souped up, got some extra content.
More Grampy Turnip.
Doesn't that feel just like a distant memory, that game?
It does.
Yeah.
I've already gotten over it.
Well, I'm bringing it back.
I've healed from that experience.
Okay, so 1-2-3 Switch or Brothership Goaty Edition?
1-2 Switch, yes, it was cheesy.
Here comes the cope.
It was cheesy, but like in the beginning of Switch launch, like it was all right. There were some parts of it that were like not terrible to play, like with a group of people.
So you're going with that?
I'm going with 1-2-3 Switch.
Remember?
Do you think there's gonna be a horse head?
Everybody 1-2 Switch. There was some math involved that made you feel
inadequate,
less than.
Yes.
Which I know you didn't like.
That was like a math pun.
What if it's all math?
It's 1-2-3 Switch equals.
Well, they're getting a lot of numbers in the title. So
wait,
what does that add? Okay.
so, because like, what a waste of space.
They do
Mario and Luigi Go to Edition would be.
They probably will have something, some game or some experience that's like, here's something that uses a mouse.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
uses this C button.
Then show it to me. Then show it to me. I'll feel it. I want to. Like, that is an optimal way for you to learn like what their original intention was with these like gimmicky things, you know, or like non-gimmicky things.
Right.
That is a way for you to like
sometimes those are
get
great.
Into their heads.
Right,
with
like
that kind of
Wii
stuff.
Sports, the Astrobot pack-in.
There you go. Yeah,
but
exactly.
Lately, it feels like they're either it's something they want you to buy, or it's going to be really like
I don't think
quick,
it's going to be
in and out.
But
if it is something.
But yeah, if they have a way that they're intending, like let's say the mouse to be used, and they have 1, 2, 3 switch as a way to show it to us. Okay, I'm here for that.
Just like those ice cubes. Just like those ice cubes.
Your
last one is
Milk the Cow.
Bring that back.
Bring that back. Milk the Cow with the mouse. My last one is the Switch 2 generation comes and goes without a new game in the Fire Emblem series or the Xenoblade series.
Oh boy. I would really like to see a Xenoblade on more powerful hardware.
Yeah, it's probably gonna look really nice.
And apparently, according to rumor folks, like we may still be getting Fire Emblem games on the Switch in 2025.
Okay.
So maybe that's my approach.
What's your approach?
You go
Xenoblade.
I'm gonna get the new Xenoblade, even though I think I like Fire Emblem a bit better.
I think you like Fire Emblem a bit better.
But I just want to see it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I respect Monolith Soft.
So beautiful.
Significantly.
Yeah.
And you have to find another way to do Fire Emblem. There's another path.
What kind of path?
Innovation.
What kind of path?
Switch 1, something else, I don't know.
So it's on Switch 1?
Sure.
But it's backwards compatible?
Yeah, exactly.
Ew.
Ew. I'm going to give you one more because I didn't like your reaction to that.
Ew.
Last one for you is we are back to drip feeding games on NSO.
No.
We're starting from 0 or Joy-Con drift continues.
Oh, no. Wait.
The drip feed.
Joy-Con drift continues. I can't stand the drip feed. It's terrible. It's more like noticeable to me than the Joy-Con drift. Like that Joy-Con drifts, all right, we'll just get a new Joy-Con. It's okay. I mean, it's expensive. It's
new Joy-Con, how much do you think these new Joy-Con are going to cost?
Like $100 probably.
It's going to be a lot. Oh, man, especially the one with that mouse. Oh.
And you can't even use like an old Joy-Con on the new thing, too.
You might be able to. I mean, you couldn't connect it, but if you just need some random, like Bluetooth, maybe you could.
All right.
If you just need another for your Mario Kart game.
Yeah. That's tough.
That's something, right?
That's going to be tough if it's going to be like hard to use your old stuff. But I still think you can't do the drip feed. We just can't do it. They're going to start again?
I'd be bummed out if my old, or my current Pro controller couldn't just carry it. Like, I will gladly buy a new Pro controller, but I really like that Pro controller.
And that's a fine controller.
It's a very capable controller.
And if you need it for multiplayer, like someone can use that
one. For just like a normal game that's not using a mouse or some weird gimmick.
Yeah.
Just let me use that. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised.
They should be able to let you carry that over. I would be surprised too.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can't do the drip feed. I just can't do it. I can't. It's too.
Because you're playing so many retro games?
It's going to make me too mad. I just want the option. I do go in there a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Oh.
I go in there like at least a couple times a month to check out what's in there. Like,
all right.
It's like nice when they add like a game that you've been waiting for too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Great.
It will infuriate me for them to take that approach again.
Okay.
You know? All right.
One more Switch 2 topic before we get into games we're playing. We did a poll on Patreon. The question was simply, is the Switch 2 innovative enough? And we wanted to ask this question because there has been, again, for the most part, it seems people are very happy with the Switch 2, been very positive. But there has been this undercurrent of some sentiment around some number of people that maybe the Switch 2 is a little boring, that it's, where is the Nintendo innovation that we know and love? I have this headline from Eurogamer right here. If Switch 2 is the end of innovative Nintendo, there is much to be sad about. What happened to the company that used to surprise us?
Yeah.
So I was just curious, like, how do people feel about it? And people very definitively said, 88%, yes.
Yes,
it is.
innovative enough.
Right. Some people did choose to not vote in the poll because they said, we don't know.
Not enough information.
There will be more information to come, and that's true. But I really wanted to take a pulse of, like, how are people feeling now? Because this is a conversation that's happening now.
Yeah, based on what's been revealed.
Yes.
As of today, do you feel like it's innovative enough?
Yes.
Is the question.
What do you think?
I think that it's not like zany Nintendo, but I also think that this is what we all wanted in the first place. Like, we didn't want them to be zany Nintendo this time around. So if we're defining innovative as zany Nintendo, I would say no.
Right.
But it's not in a bad way. I think it's a good thing that they weren't zany Nintendo this time. I think it's a good thing that they carried over the success of Switch and then just upgraded it with things that we were all asking for in the first place. So that's what I think.
For these people, like these Eurogamers, or there's other content creators who are, and who knows if they're doing it genuinely or not. They're just trying to be contrarian. My counter to that would be like, well, what did you want? And I bet you their response would be, I don't know.
Right.
That's for Nintendo to figure out. They're the ones who come up with the zany stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, then you're just kind of like wanting zaniness for the
sake of zaniness. Right.
And we've seen that backfire.
Right.
When it's like, yeah, we should continue this thing on with some tweaks. But yeah, I mean, the mouse, I think we've expressed a bit of skepticism about how the mouse would function, but it could be absolutely massive.
Yeah. Very cool.
Could be absolutely just such a new angle on a way to play games that maybe is being under. Again, we don't know all the details. We haven't seen games.
Yeah, once we see it, then we can decide.
Could be such a massive new addition.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, even just on that alone, it's like they've already gone above and beyond versus just a better Switch.
Yeah, form factor wise, I think we all kind of hoped for it to remain very similar to the original Switch, which they did. But there's still a lot of stuff like in those Joy-Con. There's still a lot of little like UI kind of things that we don't know about yet. So
software things.
Right. Yeah, totally.
And a lot of people rightly pointed out, Xbox and PlayStation is just, a more powerful box time and time again. So why are they held to
like a different standard?
A different standard, which is a very fair question to ask, just because they have that track record.
I just think Nintendo has
of doing that.
And Nintendo has a track record of doing something
different.
And
they like to, pat themselves on the back for this is the way that we think about this.
Yeah.
Riven said, this is an if it ain't broke, don't fix it scenario.
Yeah.
The Switch generation has been the most successful time for Nintendo in a very long time, if it's ever occurred before at all. People have been saying for years that they just want the Switch but more powerful, and that seems to be largely what we're getting. The magnets I'm indifferent about, but being able to use Joy-Cons as mice seems like a pretty brilliant innovation to me. It's truly more than I've seen anyone ask for.
Yeah.
Solid State said, Joy-Con mouse mode has the potential to be my favorite Nintendo gimmick ever, as long as they actually use it in the games that will benefit it. Pikmin, Splatoon, Mario Maker, for example. Ninja Joe says, my gut reaction to the reveal, and I didn't read a single thing that was leaked, was disappointment. From DS to Switch, I felt excited with each new take on gaming, and this just fell very flat for me. I've always been a day one console owner. This might be the first generation that doesn't happen with me. Fair enough. Still more to learn.
Yeah.
And then finally, Kyle LaBeouf says, Nintendo is following up on one of the most successful gaming products of all time. I think it is wise to not get too cute on the iterative design. Give the people what they want, give better performance, and fix some of the things that people were annoyed with, like the flimsiness of Joy-Con and the stick drift. I think when Nintendo gets too cute is when they get ahead of themselves. Innovation is great, but the Switch needs to remain a core gaming product and not try to be too much outside of that.
Yeah.
Well said.
That's definitely a good point.
Well, we can revisit this in about
2.5 months.
2 months and change.
Yes.
Games we're playing. Do you just want to check in? Metroid Prime. Have you put any time into Metroid Prime?
A lot of time.
Okay.
Yes.
You're feeling okay about this looming deadline that we have.
I think I'm like pretty close. This is where like you've gotten like almost all the power-ups.
Yes. But do you have the artifacts?
I have some, but not all the artifacts.
Oh.
Do you have all the artifacts?
I'm getting close. That's what I'm doing now.
Okay,
I'm getting.
You're 100%ing the artifacts?
You might need to do that.
Oh. Okay.
Oh. Well, maybe you can backtrack on this. And
I'll backtrack. It's
at the end of the week when you're like, Oh God,
I need some artifacts.
I'm nowhere.
I think I have like 4 of them.
Okay.
You do need to, yeah, you have to go back to that one area.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Oh boy.
The other game, the main thing that I've been playing in addition to Metroid Prime Throw is Donkey Kong Country Returns.
As well.
So you got this?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I played through the first world and a little bit of the second world last night. It was pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, we both worked on the original version of that. Obviously, we told the story about the pile
of bananas.
Told stories about retro and so on. So this is, this kind of revival of the Donkey Kong Country series, something we have a lot of love for.
Yeah.
And I was very interested to go into this one because it's been getting some kind of mixed reviews. So I just want to see for myself, like, what is this version of it. And I think for me, like, it's a very functional version of this game. But yeah, I agree. Like, some of the bells and whistles that you might sometimes see or hope for in a remake or a reimagining, it's just kind of not there.
Yeah, it's pretty bare bones.
And I think that's fine, because I like this game just, on the base level. I like it a lot. But I can understand why people maybe wanted a little bit more. Yeah.
I have no, I didn't have, any crazy expectations, I think, for this game. I didn't think it was going to be, this huge, reimagining of this game. So I wasn't disappointed or anything like that. But I did note that it was pretty, straightforward.
Yeah.
The game is beautiful. It looks really nice.
It looks nice. People have pointed out, there are some effects that are in some of the previous versions that weren't carried over. Mm-hmm. I think, for me, though, unless I'm seeing them side by side, I
probably wouldn't notice
I maybe don't notice it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It looks very sharp, very clean.
Crisp. Yeah.
Looks very solid.
Yeah. The gameplay, still feels really, really good. You need very precise, snappy gameplay for this game, and I think the controls feel really nice. And yeah, I don't have any sort of preconceived notions of this game blowing my mind. So I'm perfectly happy with a very straightforward way for me to play this game on Switch in HD, and that's all good. That's all fine for me.
Where do you fall on the this versus Tropical Freeze debate?
I think I still like Tropical Freeze a little bit more. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite Donkey Kong games, honestly.
For what reasons?
I don't know, something
because this has been an interesting debate that's kind of been happening the last week
I really like the some of the, I guess, more sort of the vibe of Tropical Freeze.
Okay.
The soundtrack is so good.
Yeah.
It just has this very, I don't know, there's something very playful,
more characters,
yet modern about it.
You beat Cranky Kong. I love playing as Cranky Kong.
You can play with more characters.
Funky mode, if you're playing on the Switch.
Mode. Yeah, that's
got
true.
That.
Yeah. Jorts. I love it for the jorts. Yeah, I do just feel there's something about Tropical Freeze where it just feels like a very complete experience of the Donkey Kong universe.
Okay.
Whereas this one is just a little bit smaller in scope.
In my mind, I can recognize that Tropical Freeze is probably the better game, but I do prefer Returns.
Okay.
I think I am really have a kind of a contrarian feeling about it, because the two favorite games in the series that I have are the original Donkey Kong Country and this one.
Okay.
And I think most people would say Donkey Kong Country 2 is better than 1, or you can argue that Tropical Freeze is better than this. I think what these two games have in common, the original and this, is that they're just kind of very true to the idea of Donkey Kong, where you're on the island, or you're kind of in the jungle, whereas I feel like the scope of some of those other games gets a bit too out there, and it's I just like running around the jungle and getting these bananas as Donkey Kong and doing all of that stuff, whereas there's just maybe too many bells and whistles. But yeah, I can Tropical Freeze has more characters, it has way better music, it's more variety in the stages.
The underwater levels in Tropical Freeze are next level amazing.
Right, but it's I just prefer this, which is just this
is very classic.
Exactly.
Yeah, you want the classic.
It's just a very pure Donkey Kong experience. Yeah. But I have realized something with this version, which is I think the Wii original is maybe the definitive way to still play this game, and I don't know how many people agree with this. I don't think many. I like the motion controls in that. You know, where you're doing the whatever to do the ground pound, or that move where you're rolling with the motion and then pressing the button feels very clean to me.
Yeah, this one actually with the non-motion, it feels like not as precise.
Because there's a very the order of going from the roll into the jump to get that full benefit of the longer jump. It just feels better to me using the Wii Remote versus the button.
Can you use the Joy-Con?
I don't know. I haven't tried that yet. It's possible. One other thing, the Wii Remote, remember, had a speaker on it.
The speaker was cute.
And it would blast the sound effects of getting the bananas and doing stuff. And there's something about that sound effect.
Being like close to your face.
And just the way they did some of those sound effects that's very like, I can't even describe it. But they have just like a lot of weight to them, and it's like I want to hear that in my face every time. And I've actually gone so far in the settings to like turn down the music because I don't know, the music in this game is fine, but it's like and maxing out the sound effects as I want those sound effects of getting the bayonet when you jump off of an enemy. It's like bah, bah, bah. Yeah, like I really like that.
You hear the weight of Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
like he's a heavy character,
so
it does reflect that.
But even like when you're,
it adds to the experience.
The banana sound though is very satisfying.
The banana sound. Okay, I don't even know what you're talking about. I have to go back and listen to the banana.
Listen to the banana. The sound of a banana.
Squishy?
No, it's very.
What kind of sound is
it's
it?
very powerful.
Poppy?
It's no.
Peely?
So yeah, I've been kind of doing a couple levels a night, in addition to Metroid, and it's been great, and I'll see how far I can go. But yeah, I do remember the game got pretty hard later on, but so far it's been great.
I think it's hard.
Yeah. So they do have this new. So at the beginning they say
controls.
Modern mode versus classic, and they do a bad job of explaining this.
Yeah, I read it very carefully. You have more hearts.
Right, and there's more stuff like in the shop.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. So you go from 2 hearts to 3 hearts.
I did modern mode.
And then classic mode, I think that's what it's called. They're just like, you know, as it was presented on the Wii. They don't explain the difference.
No.
They expect you to know the difference.
They expect you to know.
But in that one, I think you only had 2 hearts.
Yeah.
And I guess there's less
power-ups
variety. I just chose modern. I was like, well, this is different. Let's see.
Yeah, I chose modern because I knew I needed more hearts.
Okay.
This game is hard.
I don't know why you just wouldn't call it easy. Easy mode?
Yeah. It's kind of like Street Fighter where they have modern controls.
Don't want to admit it, so.
Easier, classic.
Whatever.
Yeah. Casual, classic.
But yeah, I mean, this is $60. I could see why people don't want to spend
$60 is
$60 on this, but it's a game that I really like a lot.
Like it.
I got the physical version because I like it.
Just wanted it.
I just wanted to have it, so I'm happy with it. But I totally hear all the grips.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna like play through the whole game eventually. I think just because you can easily just kind of dabble and play a few levels a night. Yeah. Yes.
Speaking of hard games, I need to know: did you finish Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree?
No, I'm on the last boss.
Really?
I am.
Okay, how's that going?
I think so I want to before. Well, I'm sorry. I'm on this. There's 2 bosses in succession, kind of like in the original game.
Okay.
This might be a spoiler. I don't know. Whatever. I feel like I need to just make sure I have all of the different NPC summons.
Oh.
Because I think that can help me a lot.
Yeah, I bet it can.
And I guess in this, in the last final 2 bosses, you get 2, and you can get up to 2 NPC summons.
Really?
Yes, which I'm like, yes, give it to me. So you have 2
2
NPC
at a time?
Yes, and your own, and your Spirit Ash. So you have 3 people in there plus you.
No way.
That's what I heard.
Wow.
Right?
That's great.
So I need that.
Yeah.
So I have 1 already. I definitely have 1. The other one is a little bit harder to get.
Project for you here.
So I am doing like an additional quest line to be able to get it.
Okay.
And I'm already at the the entrance to where I need to go and do it. So I've already found like all the little save points or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's good. So I can easily go in and like just do the quest real quick. Because the hard work was actually like finding where it was. It was like this like buried part of the map that you have to like get to in a very specific way. I also did fight my first dragon in the game in the DLC.
Oh, in the DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a ghost dragon, which I hadn't seen before. It was like really crazy looking, and it would like spew like ice at you, which was basically a one-shot kill.
Yeah.
Kind of fun because I haven't done one of those like in the world open battles before, so I could ride Torrent for this one, which was kind of fun. I haven't fought on Torrent because remember, like in the base game, there was like all those like tree things that you could fight on Torrent, and like that like crazy guy on a horse that you would fight on Torrent. Like I didn't get to do any of that stuff in the DLC yet, so this was kind of neat. Like I like it took a couple tries, but I did take it down like pretty easily. And it was like my first dragon, so I was like, okay, it's like actually still doable. Like I guess you can. There's like more dragons you can find in the DLC, just so you can get like the smithing stones to level up your equipment and stuff. But it was fun. It was fun to fight on Torrent. I forgot like just Torrent is so cool. You know, it's like wow, you really can. It's so maneuverable. You can do so much like riding this horse and like dodging on this horse. It's like really amazing. That gameplay is so good.
Yeah.
So yes, I've been doing some of that stuff. I want to get my last like NPC summon before I go in and sort of like once you do this one thing, it basically like locks all the quests in the DLC, and you have to progress to the end. So I haven't done that one thing yet. But yes, I'm ready to go. I have like I'm the.
Have you have attempted this boss?
I have not attempted this boss.
You have not.
No, I'm a little. I don't want to lock the quest out before I can.
Oh, so even if you die and revive, you still can't do it?
You can't do it.
Oh.
Because you have to do this one
thing. Well, good thing you knew that.
Yeah, I've been watching these videos.
All right.
So I'm prepared.
Okay. Well, that's still progress.
Yeah, I'm going to finish this thing. I'm definitely going to finish it. I feel confident that once I get the 2 NPC summons plus my like very leveled up Spirit Ash soldiers, I think I can go in and do this. Like I feel pretty good about it. Even though people say like it's like the hardest boss ever. So they were like, it makes Melania look like a cakewalk. I was like, really? Uh-oh. That doesn't bode well for me. But yes.
Infinity Nikki, I know better than to remove this from the list.
So good. Now
continues to be good.
There's another new event happening, and also the next big game update is happening.
Oh.
So
already?
Yes.
What is this update?
It's a main quest update, I think. So I don't know. It hasn't happened. I think it's next week, or it's either just this week or next week. But I've been getting tons of gifts from the developers, which is really nice. Like they always give you like rewards when there's a new update. This time they like actually rewarded you with new outfits, which I was like, wow, this is like legit. Like they really do give you incentive to keep going. So I've been spending my 15 minutes a day in my Infinity Nikki and like doing my things. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about this new main quest update because basically I've finished the main quest at this point.
Yeah. And
I can't really progress until I craft this like really difficult to craft outfit. But from the ending of for sort of the first batch of the main quest, it basically shows you like how big the world is and how you have only explored like one city in this like massive world.
Oh.
So I'm assuming they will start to unlock
and
these areas.
You can't even go.
The map is like
It's like grayed out.
Grayed out.
Okay. But that area you've been in is very big.
It's huge.
Wow.
So, and it's like they like have this little cutscene that plays at the end of the main quest, and it's like, now we can tell you that the world is like really huge, and you're part of this like bigger thing. And
did they release any sort of like a roadmap for this game?
I don't know.
To know, like, because who knows? Like, they could be supporting this game for years.
It could. I think they might.
They could plan to unlock this map over several years. Maybe.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, that's cool. That gives you gives you lots of incentive to like keep checking back. But some of the areas look really interesting. Like they have one that looks like a fairy tale kingdom that looks pretty cool. One that's like very modern. It looks like New York City basically.
Oh.
And then they have one that's like kind of like Paris. Like so they have all these different.
Yeah.
It seems like these new areas that you are going to be able to access at some point. I don't know what this new update is going to give you. But basically at the end of the main quest, it's like, okay, now that you crafted this first outfit, like you have to do the second outfit, and then we'll let you go take the boat to the next area.
A boat?
I was like, what boat?
Oh.
I want to get on the boat. But I'm not close to the boat. I have to craft that outfit. It's going to take me forever. So, I mean, they really do a good job of like dripping, like pulling you along, you know?
Right.
I don't know. It's pretty cool that they're doing this, though.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I have 2 more games on here. I should be clear. These are not games I've played yet. Oh, I do want to talk about them, though. So Dynasty Warriors Origins.
That's been getting such good reviews.
It's something I need to check out. I was amazed at like how good the reviews are.
Whoa, it's like 9.
Got a 9 on IGN.
Yeah.
And I watched it. The person who reviewed that is like a big Dynasty Warriors fan, but they came away really impressed with it.
Really?
Because this game, like this series, has been such a critical like dud over the years.
Yeah.
So take that, 8-4 guys who wanted to poo-poo Dynasty Warriors.
You were so quiet during that. I wanted you to say something. I kept looking over at you.
It was like 1 versus 10.
And then you wouldn't say
like
anything.
I said, this is not the time for me to defend the honor
said it
of Dynasty Warriors.
if I cared anything about Dynasty.
But I did. So there's a demo for this. I should just check out the demo. The game looks cool, but there's some things that they've done that I don't know if I like it. I need to play it to find out.
Yeah.
So traditional Dynasty Warriors, it's like a Hyrule Warriors where you have a lot of characters.
Yeah.
That
the whole
you
point
can
is the satisfaction
play
of that.
from.
Yeah.
And this game is a little bit different where there is kind of one main character who's kind of just like this generic
general
guy or girl that you choose to play as, who I don't think has any kind of like historical, you know, this is based on Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is this ancient book, which is, you know, probably somewhat historically.
It's like historical fiction.
With some embellishments.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like historical fiction, yeah.
Right. So this, you're just playing some random guy, and it's like,
You want to be somebody?
I always enjoyed playing the different characters because they always played really differently. They would have different weapons. They did say on this character that you choose, you get all those weapons, so you can do all of those things.
Okay.
But again, there's the character that I really like, Guan Yu, who's this 8-foot tall guy with this giant spear, and it's like.
Can you just make that character look like that?
You don't. I don't think you customize the appearance.
Customize it.
And they look kind of bland.
Oh.
So. They did say there are some sequences where you will play as other characters briefly, but it's like, I want to play the whole game as Guan Yu and then check out a bunch of other characters that I like. So I don't know. I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. That's really the big thing where I'm like, I might have preferred it to be a different way, but I haven't played it.
Yeah.
So I just need to play it.
It looks cool. It looks good.
I need to get over it and play it.
Yeah, it really does look good. I was surprised at the high review scores because you're right. The series is very like hit or miss.
As an old school purist, I will play this and check in next week.
Perfect.
Hyperlight Breaker is a game. We just got codes for that game.
How fun.
By the way, this is your great reminder that you should get a Steam Deck. Because this is what we have. We have Steam codes for this game. Okay. And this was a game that we played at Summer Game Fest.
It's a great game.
Did you play?
Really fun.
Did you play Hyperlight Drift?
Yes, I did.
Which is kind of a very different game.
It's a very different game. But this game was really fun.
This is kind of more of like a 3D run-based game with co-op.
Yes.
And yeah, the version we played at Summer Game Fest was really cool. It seemed really fun, so I'm gonna check that out for next week's episode.
Bring it so we can play it together.
Well, or you could just get a Steam Deck and play it yourself.
Don't you want to play co-op?
How am I gonna play co-op with you? You need another system.
Oh.
It's not that kind of co-op,
it's not
you
a
see.
Couch
no.
co-op.
Why won't you just get a Steam Deck?
I don't know.
Why? You have some hang-up that you are keeping secret.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use it.
Why?
Because it's too big.
Okay. Moving on to the news. We have some updates on how trading is going to work in Pokemon trading card game Pocket. Are you still playing this, by the way?
I am.
You're still getting your
I'm
decks?
Getting my decks.
Every day?
Yes. I haven't battled in a while.
Yeah.
But I have been getting my decks.
I've fallen off a little bit. I will get it some days, and some days I might forget about it. But they have shared a lengthy post kind of talking about what you can do. So I will just read through the key points here. We wanted to provide more details on the new trade feature coming your way this month. Oh. Here are a few highlights you can look forward to. Trades can be done between friends. Trades can be done with cards of the same rarity. At the time of the trade feature's launch, certain cards from the Genetic Apex and Mythical Island booster packs will be able to be traded. We are planning to continue to expand the selection of booster packs that you can trade from. Cards with a rarity of 1 to 4 diamond and 1 star can be traded. items must be consumed in order to trade.
What kind of items?
And then they say that, well, I mean, you get so many items. I'm sure there's some, you'll have to spend some of those consumables to actually do a trade so that you can't just, so you're limited, you have your deck of cards, you have to work with that, but then you also have some other currency or item that you need to burn to actually do a trade. And we don't know how many. Maybe it ramps up based on the rating.
Yeah.
The rarity of the card.
Oh yeah, how many you need to consume.
Could be. I think we were both a little iffy on the fact that they're, so tightly guarding trading. But I don't know, this seems pretty reasonable.
It's fine. I wonder if they're just really scared that people are going to exploit the trade to like.
Well, there's a lot of things already being exploited in this game.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the main thing, my main thing with this game is like keep getting more cards out there so that there's more variety of decks that people are making.
Or else you just get that cheap deck that you can't go up against, really.
Right. I think and they say this here. They're going to keep releasing boosters and they'll widen the pool of cards that can be traded. So I think this is only a good thing as people get their hands on more cards and can think of more ways to make their deck. Because I'm really not interested in going back if it's just fighting the same deck again and again.
Yeah.
At that point, it just becomes like, who can flip the coin better.
It's like a formula, versus it being strategy, which is not that fun. But I'm excited to trade. I bet you have some cards that I want.
I'll need all of your Machamps.
Every single one?
Give me.
But you might have some of those.
Those all need to be handed over.
Oh.
I'll be collecting those. Thank you very much.
I already got the Lapras so many years, 8 months
ago.
What
do you still need?
I don't really need your cards.
I think you've got a lot of cards.
I have more cards.
You probably have, you definitely have way more cards.
I have some good rare cards.
Okay.
You can't have them.
Okay. Next, we have a little bit of, this is more than a rumor here. There's some smoke to this one about a remake for Elder Scrolls Oblivion being in the works and maybe coming out this year. Did you play Oblivion on 360 around that time? Yeah, so did I. I really like it. I played Elder Scrolls 3 on the original Xbox.
Oh, wow.
Which, Morrowind. And I could appreciate it, but I didn't really get into it. But Oblivion was just such a step in the right direction for me of maybe making that kind of game a bit more approachable. Obviously looked really great on the Xbox. It was a pretty early Xbox 360 game. Felt properly next gen. So I have a lot of positive associations with that.
Yeah.
Although in hindsight, I do think there are some things that maybe didn't age super well. Like, remember you had to always go through those Oblivion portals into that other thing, and then there was something you had to do. I don't know how much.
It's a little tedious in some areas.
But just exploring that world and being in that world was super fun. So
maybe they'll do some quality of life stuff in a remake.
I would hope
right?
So somebody who works for this developer, Virtuous, put on, not LinkedIn, but sort of a LinkedIn-ish site, that they were a game designer working on the Oblivion remake between 2023 and 2024. Oops. And they went on to say that they worked on the sneak system, the hit reaction, the player HUD, the archery system, the stamina systems, and the block system. And this is actually not the first time that something on this has come out. It was in some of the documents for the Microsoft FTC trial when they were doing the Activision acquisition. Now, there were a lot of things in that document, in those documents, that ended up kind of being nothing. Plans changed, and they ended up not moving forward or whatever. So, but this seems like a pretty definitive acknowledgement that
probably real
is happening. And there have been people who claim to know and say that this could be out this year. So
great, give it to me.
I think that would be a really great addition, because I don't know what's going on with Elder Scrolls. What the new one is?
Yeah.
Did you know that what is the year that you think they showed that little teaser trailer of the next Elder Scrolls?
2021?
It was 2018. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? That's like in the Metroid Prime zone of like, why did you have to do that?
Why did they do that?
That's a long time.
Maybe they had drama too.
To have nothing
with their stuff.
To have literally nothing to say. They were busy working on Starfield. To have literally nothing to say about this game. So I think this is great, and I would like to play this.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say about that. Next, Old Shu Yoshida has been freed of the shackles of employment at the Sony Corporation.
He's just like out there hanging out doing cool stuff.
And yeah, he pretty much immediately, after his last day, did a big interview with Kinda Funny.
So cool.
Where he got grilled on all sorts of things, and one of the questions they asked him was, what's going on with Bloodborne? And why do we not have a Bloodborne 2 or really anything else in Bloodborne, because it's such a fan favorite? And I will read his response. I only have my personal theory to that situation. Got a copy. He's learning.
That's right.
He's learning what we learned. I only have my personal theory.
In my opinion,
I left first-party Sony, so I don't know what's going on. But my theory is, because I remember Miyazaki really, really loved Bloodborne, what he created, and I think he is interested, but he's so successful and so busy that he cannot do it himself, but he doesn't want anyone else to touch it. So that's my theory, and the PlayStation team respects his wish. Seems reasonable.
It's like a Sakurai situation where he's like, I'm so busy.
I'll get around to that later, but I'm doing something else.
I'm busy now, but I also am very like controlling of this thing that I love, so I'm not going to let anyone else touch it.
Yeah.
That's very reasonable.
I think that's fair. I think it's interesting to have Shu out there of somebody who absolutely knows a lot of things.
Yes. Join us.
We would love to have Shu on the podcast. Please. And we may try to make that happen. Make that Nintendo Sony connection happen.
Yes.
But interesting to have him out there and see kind of how much he continues to do interviews versus whatever. He seemed to have other things in the industry, some unfinished business he wanted to get into. So
he's voice acting in a game too.
He is, interestingly,
which is very fun. So I think maybe he's just doing like his bucket list of things that he wanted
Promise
to do.
Mascot Agency?
Promise Mascot Agency.
Is that it?
Yeah, that game looks zany and crazy and amazing.
Right.
But it sounds like he's doing some fun things now that he's retired, and he's able to do maybe some stuff that he's been not able to do while he was at Sony. So I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for him.
Last thing in the news is also in the world of Sony. Jason Schreier is out there doing Jason Schreier things, and he has found confirmation of some canceled Sony projects from Bend Studio and Bluepoint, which are some of the first-party Sony studios. So he found out that Bend was working on sort of a military-ish multiplayer shooter, and perhaps more interesting that Bluepoint was working on a God of War multiplayer live service spin-off.
Yeah.
And both of these are no longer moving forward, but we do have to remember that in 2023, good old Jim Ryan said that they were working on a dozen live service games to be out this year. And obviously there has been some backtracking on that. We had the Conquered failure. There may have been some backtracking even before that, but it's interesting to get a glimpse into what they may have been working on.
12 live service games just seems ridiculous to me. That's so many to put your eggs into that one live service basket. It just seems silly to do it to do that. I'm sure they learned some very hard lessons last year with Conquered and all the things that happened as a result of that and the money that was basically wasted and lost. Curious to see how they're pivoting right now because they not only we were kind of talking at the end of last year is like, wow, they really kind of had their strategy upended in a way where a lot of these live service games really are not what's paying off for them, and they have a smaller game like Astrobot that goes on to be critically acclaimed, winning Game of the Year, and what did they do next? What did they do now? I feel like they're probably in the midst of that, which is explains why they're shutting down different studios and kind of rethinking their priorities and stuff. But curious to see what happens in the end.
Now, since God of War Ragnarok is famously one of your favorite games ever.
So good. I'm not interested in this.
I wanted to get your take. Not interested.
I want God of War to be like that true narrative adventure experience.
You want more Atreus.
Can he grow up and be like a grown-up?
He was like, that's what happens with teenagers. They keep growing up.
Great. Then he'll be out of his annoying teenager phase.
You want a full Atreus game, is what you're saying.
He can can grow up and be not annoying.
I might have a no thanks to that option.
Might not be annoying when he grows up. Remember how annoying you were as a teenager? And now you're not that annoying.
You didn't know me as a teenager.
I'm just saying, everybody was annoying when they were teenagers.
Speak for yourself.
I was definitely
first-hand experience, I guess.
Ask my mom. She's going to tell you that I was very annoying.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that either. They did do, I'm sure this was very different, but they did do some multiplayer in one of the PS3 God of Wars that was nothing to speak of. It's like, I don't know, it just seems like God of War is so linked to Kratos, and like, what other characters, could you introduce to be playing as? I don't know, it just feels like something completely different, so maybe this is for the best on multiple levels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's the news.
All right.
Let's get into some questions, and we get all of our questions from our Patreon community. You can look us up at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. First from Joshy Josh. Hey guys, with the Switch 2 Direct, what do you think the focus will be on when it comes to showing off UI and hardware-specific details about the Switch versus actual games that will be coming to Switch 2? I personally think most of the Direct will be about the differences between Switch and Switch 2 in terms of the system itself, the UI, and anything new that may be coming to it, with the games mainly focusing on Mario Kart 9, Metroid Prime 4, and perhaps one or two other games we don't know of yet. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's going to be mostly focused on the games, actually.
Games and software.
Yeah.
And how the hardware makes those experiences
cool.
possible
and
cool.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. Nintendo's always going to lead with games when it's talking about the hardware. It's never going to be, it's never going to be a company that's going to lead with like specs, or you're not going to get like a tech video on the guts of a Switch 2 or like the power of a Switch 2. You will get a game and then like maybe a cool way that a control scheme is being used in that game, or you will get a game and then a fun way the UI is integrated into the game itself. Is there like a sharing feature? Is there some other sort of little fun thing that you can do now that's possible on a Switch 2? So I do think that's going to be how that Direct is going to be. What that Direct is going to be focused on. I do think that we will see hopefully a lot more of the only game that they gave us a little tease about, which is this Mario Kart game. That might be the main way for them to like show you what a Switch 2 is capable of, is by sharing details about this Mario Kart game. And yeah, we might get all of the other sort of the priority launch year games as well.
Yes.
So
they have a lot more games that they have to reveal. And yeah, I agree. Like there's some questions about the hardware, like the mouse, for example. So they'll explain that by using a game to illustrate what it can do and how it works.
Yeah.
And they do have an interesting challenge because there's so much information starting from this event that they need to get out. So they kind of need to like focus, like what is the most important things that we put in the Direct, and then there's other things that can get handled other ways.
Yeah, like in an interview.
In an interview, or just like through hands-on, like let people just see it for themselves, and then they can write about it. We don't need to use time in this very precious Direct to do that. And yeah, coming out of this, I mean, I think we assume relatively short turnaround from this to the thing coming out. So I would want to know, like, what is the launch day lineup? And what are some big games kind of in that next wave to look forward to? So they've got a lot. That's going to be big.
It's going to be a lot of meaty information. I do like that we have a date for that everybody can look forward to.
But not a time.
Not a time. Shadow drop 5 a.m. Hopefully not. But that's great, because in sort of the months leading up to it, we might get a few, official confirmations here or there from Nintendo. There is like that financial stuff that they do.
That's a question later, so don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. We're moving on. Paul Gale Network asks, since we know that there will be a Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct on April 2nd, what are your thoughts on a commercial spot of some sort for the system showing up at the Super Bowl? Roman numeral LIX, what is that?
Super Bowl
59? Is that 59?
59, okay. Yes.
Once you get past X, I get a little
gotta think about that. Here.
On the one hand, Nintendo is in a far stronger position now than they were 8 years ago, and Switch 2 might not be coming out until June. But on the other hand, Super Bowl is still quite the place to advertise. What do you think? A commercial with Sabrina Carpenter showing up with a longer version later being posted online? Thanks. We talked about this a little bit in our emergency follow-up podcast last week.
Emergency podcast. Yeah, I think you were like sort of thinking before we saw the reveal that we may get some kind of Super Bowl something. I had always said no to the Super Bowl something. It always never felt right to me for a Switch 2 reveal and for what Nintendo may be wanting to accomplish with Switch 2. It just felt like a little too early, too soon to get your stuff out there to this like really broad audience that maybe haven't been paying attention to all your stuff for months and years leading up to this reveal. And yeah, because it's so iterative, it's not as like groundbreaking as the original Switch that warranted like a big Super Bowl commercial. So I still don't think there's going to be anything like this in Super Bowl timing, which is February, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I just think that they have not revealed enough information to kind of transform that into something that could be a Super Bowl ad. I think that would just have more of a teasery feel to it when you've already done your teaser that's on YouTube that is doing gangbusters numbers.
Right.
Like if you had more to say, more to share, then I feel like you could package that into something. But until we get to April, they won't have that. So I just think the timing for this, it doesn't work. It's like, oh, boo-hoo, we have to save millions and millions of dollars. Sorry. And they'll just reinvest that into, every other kind of ad on every other platform.
When it's like launching and when it's after April when they've revealed more games.
The media blitz.
Oh, the blitz,
as they call it, yes.
Yeah, also like because the Super Bowl is going out to a vastly more broad audience, you may even confuse them accidentally, because the form factor looks pretty similar to an original Switch.
So never do mass advertising for Switch 2?
Well, not until you've revealed some, like you said, like more details about it. Like for now, it may be hard to do that in a 15-second ad to make sure people understand truly, like this is next gen, this is the new thing, versus it being like, uh-oh, here we go back again to like this is just a new Joy-Con for the original Switch or something like that. They might be confused. So, alas, we'll have to
Dreams
wait for...
dashed twofold for Paul Gale, who I know is a Los Angeles Rams fan, who lost this weekend. Also he was hoping for the double dose of a Rams Super Bowl victory and a Switch 2 commercial. Might be an 0 for 2 for Paul Gale.
You said that who else is in this? Is it Buffalo Bills? Maybe?
There's some teams left. Yeah.
Buffalo Bills is where. Buffalo's where one of my cousins are from, so I guess I have to root for the Buffalo Bills.
All right, Buffalo it is.
Buffalo it is.
Pie. Oh,
what pie?
Wow, I love pie.
Kind of pie.
Pie asks, how will Nintendo market games like Metroid Prime 4, which they will want to sell on both Switch and Switch 2? Would they do a single SKU with Switch packaging with a bigger sticker that it's compatible and optimized for Switch 2, or a dual SKU approach with a Switch version, which may also be compatible with Switch 2 and also different SKU for Switch 2 only?
Whew.
What leads to the least confusion?
Just reading Pie's question.
I'm confused reading the options.
Well, we did see that weird leak that could potentially be true of like the packaging being larger for a Switch 2. I do hope that is the case. Oh. Because that minimizes some of the confusion for people.
That would help. Yeah.
Yeah, it is now that we know the logo too, looking very similar to an original Switch logo, except for obviously with the big 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. The branding is very similar, so you do have to find other ways to differentiate the two things. But I do think if they have a different size box and a different looking box, that might help.
We still don't know enough about how the backwards compatibility works to say for sure. But one thing that is for sure is like at a certain point, you make this transition and the original Switch is going to fade into the background and your full focus is going to be the Switch 2. So I've seen people saying like, oh, well, they should slow roll the transition because they've got 100+ million systems and that's a big opportunity. So you kind of present them as equal. It's like, well, then you're really not giving...
One foot in,
you're not giving your new thing the best chance to get the sharp adoption, which is what you need for the future. So at some point, and it could be, starting April 2nd, you're going to see a lot less of the original Switch. So whatever versions there are, they're going to push the Switch 2 version.
Yeah.
Like, this is the one you should
That's
get.
going to be like
get
in
it on
the
new
forefront.
thing. Yeah. But if you can't, you've also got this other thing.
It's in the back.
Yeah.
It's behind. It's under the desk.
Yeah. It's like however hard it might be, like you do at some point need to transition.
Yeah. PS4, PS5 had to do the same thing.
They had a hard time.
They had a hard time.
Fully making the They had other reasons for why that was hard.
They had like stock issues.
That Nintendo may not have, but yeah.
It's always tough. It's always going to be kind of confusing, you know?
Yeah. Shining Abdul asks, long-time listener, first-time asker, do you think Nintendo is planning to get to April 2nd without a single piece of new info on the Switch 2? How realistic do you think that plan would be, considering all of the leaks?
I think that
the leaks will continue.
As someone quoted me saying, falsely.
Why was that the visual that went with it?
Amazing. I love this person.
Krysta Kong?
I don't know, but I think this is brilliant. The quote is, I'm going to say it here to make it real. Leaks will continue until morale improves. Okay? That's fantastic. I would say something like that, honestly. Maybe AI wrote it. Who knows? Just kidding. I do think that we will get some little drippy feed of some Switch 2 tidbits. We'll call it tidbits.
When is this financial event now?
It's got to be at the end of the fiscal, yes?
Well, that would be
very close to this event.
That would probably be happening after. If that's what, I don't know. We don't know. We shouldn't say. If that event is happening before the second, they'll say something.
The shareholders will want to know some stuff.
Right, but they'll mostly point to look to this for the big
thing
reveal.
Yeah.
I mean, if there is, it's not going to come from them.
Exactly.
Leakers will do their thing. That's going to continue. Third parties may have something to say. Because who knows, if old Strauss Zelnick gets interviewed, who knows what he's going to say? He might let something loose. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, well, big deal. Back to go pumping the iron.
And Nintendo will be too scared to go up against him because he'll punch them.
Exactly. So I do think there will be some things, and that's fun. It's good to... it's a long time. We want something to happen.
I do think
to make the wait a little bit more bearable. Some of these are things that they don't want to happen.
You can't really control it at this point. And also, you kind of let your guard down a little bit because you've revealed it at this point. It's out in the world.
It's not as terrible as it was.
It's not as wound up as before. Right. So I think there's going to be a few little things here or there. Nothing official probably from Nintendo because they've already said you got to wait till April 2nd to get the info. There might be some... here and there things that come out. Indie developers confirming games for Switch.
Yes.
Little things like that.
Yes.
And if this financial happens before that April event, then there'll probably be some stuff in there. So.
Last question has nothing to do with Switch 2.
Good.
If you're sick of that. From Sword of Sora. Hi, Kit and Krysta. I was going down a Nintendo-related Wikipedia rabbit hole when I discovered that Nintendo of America was founded in 1980, almost 45 years ago, which was earlier than I thought. Then I recalled each of you spent around 15 years with Nintendo, meaning you were there for a third of Nintendo of America's existence. If you had the chance to choose any 15-year span of time to be working at Nintendo, what would you pick? 1980 to 95, 95 to 2010, 2010 to 25. Perhaps you're content to have worked there during the years you did and wouldn't choose to have it any other way, but I was curious.
I do like early Nintendo of America years, 1980 to 1995. I remember, we had done some stuff for Mario Kart DS, and I was hanging out with Don James.
Mario Kart 7.
Mario Kart
on
7.
3DS.
On 3DS, yes. And I was hanging out with Don James, who was there in 1980 when Nintendo first started, and he was in the New York location and doing it was the early, literally day one, of Nintendo of America. Mm-hmm. Some of those stories were wild.
Cannot be repeated on the podcast.
I definitely cannot repeat these stories. Absolutely not. I will take this to the grave. But it was very, it's almost like that startup feeling. It's
right.
A new fresh
college
dorm,
thing,
you're just flying by the seat of your pants.
Anything's
There's no
possible.
rules. Anything is possible. But you're also shaping the future of something. Mm-hmm. So you are as you're having fun and being wild and crazy, and also trying to get things done, sometimes breaking the rules a little bit. You are kind of shaping the company, which is such a cool thing to do. And I was excited to hear those stories from him because you can tell that he really remembers those days fondly because that is a very special thing.
Right.
To be there at the start of something So yeah, I think that would be really cool. I probably wouldn't be able to hang with those guys. They're like, they were serious business. I'll probably just be like fly on the wall.
I agree. I think that's a really fun one because that would take you from we're starting from almost nothing, nobody knows what this is, to kind of the very established like almost endpoint of the Super Nintendo where it's like, yes, we are the big kid on the block.
Yeah, we made our mark.
We made it. We did the thing. Like that's a great kind of story arc there.
Yeah.
And I always recommend, this book that we got last year, Game Master Classified. That's the name of it.
Yes.
Which was written by Howard Phillips, who was also one of those, day one employees, and he went on to be, in that era, the most visible spokesperson for Nintendo. He was very prominent in Nintendo Power and other things. And he's just like very, very openly talking about his experiences there. That book had a pretty limited run. I don't know how easy it is to track down a copy now. We have a video about it if you want to get a closer look at it, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
I will say, like, we picked a good era to be in because, we saw kind of the best of times and the worst of times, and then the best of times again.
Yes, that's very true. We really did go through the full gamut during our time there. I think that really gave us like a really unique perspective on the company because you saw them in all phases, and also we learned a lot. Doing all the things, whether it was bad or good.
Right.
And you really like kind of can see the transition.
Yeah, and it was also this like time of the company branching into different things. Like if you did 1995 to 2010, it's like you worked on games and game consoles. Whereas, we worked on phone apps, we worked on a movie, we worked on theme parks, we saw
Lego, so many Legos.
We saw that whole transition happen as the company
so
became more than what it was.
More of an entertainment company versus just games. Yeah.
Good question.
Wow.
And that's all of them.
That's all of them.
Thanks to everybody who sent one in. As I was saying, you can check us out and support us at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta for just a few dollars a month.
Yes.
You can get so much exclusive content, early access to so many great things, including this very podcast, and become part of a wonderful community, too.
That's the best part. Become part of this wonderful community in this year where we're getting a new Nintendo hardware. How exciting. Yeah. The Discord is just popping off every day.
That's right.
With great conversations and cool experiences that people are sharing. It's a lovely place to be.
Yes.
We're also on social. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Threads. Yes, we're still on TikTok.
TikTok, whilst it exists.
Returned.
It's not going anywhere.
It would disappear and then return. It was very dramatic. We did not make like a goodbye TikTok video.
No, because we knew it. It's like
silly.
this is not what's happening here.
Yeah, it's like this is my best performing TikTok.
Yes. I did tell you this though. Like I envisioned something happening at Nintendo.
Oh my God, yes.
Do you agree that this is what happened?
100%.
Because we went around our last couple of years, we were part of a push to try and get Nintendo onto TikTok. And it was like, oh, this is going to be really hard.
Yeah.
Because at that point,
it's not impossible.
The company was
conservative,
not into doing new things. And also, like, that would require such a different type of content that, like, I don't know if they... And obviously, they're still not on there.
It's not really cut
But
out
I can imagine a lot of patting on the back of like, ooh, we really outsmarted.
Good thing we didn't get on TikTok,
Good thing
guys.
We didn't do that. We for sure avoided that whole controversy.
We really looked into our crystal ball and saw the future
there. Well, all you did was you got scared and you did nothing versus actually...
doing anything
predicting what would happen.
Legal did not respond or approve.
Legal to confirm.
Treehouse didn't confirm. You put your head in the sand and deleted the question.
Right,
so there you go.
Think of how many fun dances you could have done over the last couple of years.
Mario could have danced.
Back to that, what was it? The Harlem Shuffle?
The Harlem Shuffle?
Of the early days of Nintendo on social media?
Yeah.
Could have been just shuffling away.
Could have been Mario shuffling. It's
oh, gosh.
Could have shuffled.
If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, you can please subscribe to our channel, leave us a comment, and also a thumbs up. And if you're listening on audio, you can also subscribe, give the podcast a 5-star rating, and leave a written review if you please. Even if you can do just one of those things, it helps us a lot.
Thank you. All right, let's wrap up this episode with shouting out some of our wonderful Patreon community members, starting with Final Boss, Aaron Hash.
There he is.
There he is. Aaron Hash must be very excited about the new Mario Kart game. Very.
Aaron Hash loves, as they call them, motorsports.
Yes.
So
that's why that's like that.
I think that's a very safe statement, yes.
Exciting for him. Superstars. Ben Eichhorn.
Mara Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up. Underscore.
VGM Life.
Link, the hero of wins.
Angela Bycroft and her pig Molly.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
Simon.
Chris Shuri.
Master Discord.
Ash.
Ajay Kunlas.
40 Gig.
Travis Torline.
And Echo Ledare.
Woohoo! All right, and the One Up Club. Aaron Burgundy.
Adcool 2000.
Ali Alejandro.
Aristu.
Astrodev.
Awesome 46.
Axel.
Bates.
Ben GB.
Big N Gamer with a Y.
Brandon Kavapil.
Brent Dennison.
Brovek Novak.
Bruce Stash.
Bucky Flores.
Cameron.
Shadir.
Chelly Squirrel.
Crispy Saurus.
Chris Galvin.
Christopher Lay.
Captain Alex.
C. Roper 17.
Dallas E.
Daniel Phillips.
Dachshund.
Debbie P.
Doinko.
Dre.
Dude Dad Life Trilek.
Eccentric Tony.
Elite Peach.
Sparts 50.
Fart Priest 69.
Fernie and Goodness
You're
gracious.
struggling.
I'm struggling today. Furbound.
Fernie and Just Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Funky Hunt.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Handheld Gamer.
Happy Sloth.
I may have made a mistake.
Iris Marin.
Jay Rando.
Jack Hovey.
Jeffrey Hernandez.
Joe Encarnacion.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Collette.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Justin Lemminger.
J.W. Banks.
Callan CPU 57.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kibo.
Christopia Party With Me.
Kyle Gamer Barry Rookie.
Kyle Kretzer.
Kyle R. Smith.
Lazy Cat for Coffee.
Lex.
Link 9898.
Lo Mikey.
Linko.
Lit.
Lucas Pico.
Luigi 53.
Luna B.
Lynn.
M1 IMAX.
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G plus Callie Marie.
Mario Man 392.
Mark.
Marky Man 64.
Maverick Nate.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
May plus Leon.
Michael Mazer.
Michael Wong.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pong.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
MSM Poke Gamer.
My Tran.
Nasir.
Naif E.
Ninja 11.
Noah-san.
Bangy.
Patrice Millette.
Paul.
Paul Gil Network.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Punky.
Raver.
Rain Tech.
Random Bystander here.
Or Burns.
Record Rumble.
Ryuji Utsuhu Okou.
Rob M.
Rob O.
Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Ryanetta.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Schmiggles.
Slowbro.
Snazzle.
Spacey Poo.
Spicy Munchkin.
Steel Citrone.
Pseudo Priest.
Tales of Link.
Tandem.
Tay 120 and 64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Keggers.
The Shark Among Men.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Timmy V.
Torcheeks.
Totally Joe Ed.
Trajowie.
Trev Tendo 88.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tuscoop.
Tyler and Tracy.
Tyler Geis.
Uncle Jungle.
Video Game Stupid.
Vidge Mictor.
Viridian.
Virtual Bot.
Voyager 007.
WG Grizzy.
YU.
Wicked Davy.
Zelgaroth.
Zapatty.
Zero Link.
And Zroid.
There's a lot of new names.
I wonder if Snozzle out there is like, can you just say my name normally for once?
No, because your name is Snazzle. If you didn't want your name to be said like
Snozzle
that,
to be disgruntled about it.
then you wouldn't have named it Snozzle.
All right, fair enough.
All right. Anyways. Okay.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, as they say. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.